Shane Bengal with the Manna Group, back today to talk to you a little bit about the economics as a whole. There's a lot of talk, a lot of chatter. If you turn on the news, you're going to hear one thing, one channel, another thing on a different channel. And generally speaking, we've all heard inflation. We've all felt it, right? Things cost just more money. I was talking to a friend that went to one of his favorite local restaurants here in town, and it was like $30 for what he normally orders. And he actually just walked out and left and was like, I'm not eating here. Unfortunately, I would say that is the new world that we live in, right? Inflation has hit more than just gas prices. We're seeing it in groceries and utilities and everything. So we've been talking a lot about inflation. Thankfully, inflation has been seeming to cool. So much to the fact that here coming up in September, we're hopeful that the Fed will cut the federal funding rate slightly, maybe by 25 basis points or 50 basis points. We'll see. That would be very helpful to the economy, to the housing market and buyers. They've been feeling the pinch of these high interest rates. But I want to talk about, just in a broad scope, a little bit more of the economics, U.S. economy. Are we going to hit a recession or not? It looks very probable. So there's a indicator of whether we're going to hit in a recession, and we're like slightly above 70% likelihood that we'll hit a recession. We for sure in the real estate industry have already been in a recession. Last year alone, we saw 30% less homes bought and sold. So that's a huge amount of volume of work to be done that's just gone. Mortgage industry, they saw a huge hit. I want to say over half of mortgage lenders exited the business because they had a double dinger. They had cooling. They had 30% less transactions to do. Right, they're not helping buyers get loans if there's 30% less homes being sold. But they also lost all the refi business. If rates were 3% and they skyrocketed all the way up to 7.5%, nobody's really looking to refi. That business is now maybe coming back, as we've seen about a 1% decrease in rates. So now you're going to start to see a lot more refinancing happen for people who bought and were in the 7.5% range. They're going to get a little bit of reprieve on their payment, but we're at a very high likelihood of a true recession. Now, what will happen if we hit a recession? The Fed continues to talk about trying to hit a soft landing. So right now they're turning all the gauges and trying to make sure that the economy got going too fast when we went into COVID and the pandemic, and then they stimulated the economy by giving out tons and tons of money. So we had this booming economy already going at a fast pace, and then they just poured gasoline on the fire, and the economy went out of control. We saw that in the real estate market. We saw people offering $100,000 over list price for homes. It was a little bit bonkers. The economy cannot go that fast. That's not good. Whatever goes up has to come down. Whatever goes down has to come up. So the Fed has been turning the dials. They're increasing the federal funding rate, interest rate, so that they're trying to cool the economy, slow everything down, slow down. What they're hoping to do, and they keep talking about the soft landing, is that they can turn the dials and we don't crash. The economy just cools down and slowly starts to rev back up, because what goes down has to come up. It's a very difficult, and I would say nearly impossible thing to do to hit the soft landing. They always aim for it because we don't want too much of the herky-jerky, things are great, things are terrible, things are great. It's just too much for the economy to handle. So the Fed's going to try to hit the soft landing. We have seen the recession starting in the real estate market. Like I said, we've seen less sales, less transactions. So that's been happening in the real estate industry. What is currently happening now is we are getting higher unemployment. And so the Fed wants to let that unemployment grow, but only slightly. They want to keep employment rates high because that keeps the economy humming. So right now, as it's growing, they're going to try to reduce interest rates, and so that slows down unemployment, and both things kind of settle and cool, and we can stay in this nice, easy, soft landing. If they are able to accomplish that, we won't head into a recession, which seems more unlikely than likely at this point. But if that happens, the real estate market will recover, will operate in more of a normal status. We'll see interest rates come down slightly, somewhere around 5% probably. We'll see a slightly above average home sales. We'll probably see 5 million nationwide homes being sold, which is a little bit more than we've done the last 2 years. And we'll just see interest rates calm just a little bit. If we have a slight recession, which is probably more likely than not, we'll actually see interest rates come down substantially more. They'll come down into the 4.5s or something like that, because the Fed's going to get the rates down, try to get the economy going, speeding things up, and we'll probably see a healthy amount of home sales in that case. If we do hit a true recession, so if the Fed is not completely misses the soft landing, and we see unemployment spike, we maybe see inflation rear its head again, and we hit this recession, you'll see a lot less home sales, because everybody will be saying, hey, listen, we don't know what's coming next. We don't know, am I going to get a pay increase in my job? Doesn't look like it. I would like to move. We currently live in this 3-bed, 2-bath, and we have 2 kids and 1 on the way. Can we upgrade to a bigger home? No, we just can't afford it. We'll just stay put. And everything will slow down, and we'll see less home sales, and we'll see a lot of other painful things in the market. So a lot of it is unknown. Obviously, election plays a big part in it. We'll see how that pans out. I personally am optimistic for what 2025 has in store. I don't think the Fed will completely hit the soft landing, but there's a lot of indicators that we're not going to hit a major recession. So here's hoping that doesn't happen. It'll be good for all of us.